Tech on Demand podcast, brought to you by GROWERTALKS. Audio Files, Episode 15, Putting Your Media to the Test, from the July 2021 issue of GROWERTALKS magazine, written by Ed BLOODNICK and Troy BUECHEL, narrated by Bill CALKINS. Putting your media to the test. Comparative product evaluations, product demonstrations, and product trials are important for growers when evaluating new products, plant varieties, and even growing media. This is the best way of determining what new product can benefit your business. But there are certain protocols that should be followed to ensure products are evaluated properly and the results can be replicated should you decide to move forward with a new product. Here are some helpful tips to setting up a comparative product evaluation for growing media, although these guidelines can be applied to plants and other products. Determine the objectives. First, determine the objective or goal you wish to achieve with the product being evaluated. The basic questions that should be asked are, how does this product work? What does the product offer me? How will the product perform in my situation? What's the return on investment to use this product? Before moving forward to evaluate a product, there are other points to consider. Time of year must be considered, commitment to have a team member conducting the evaluation properly, and ability to provide a dedicated area for an evaluation are just a few requirements for a proper evaluation. Setting up a product evaluation. Any product evaluation requires precision, consistency, and commitment by individuals that are conducting it. For example, with growing media, the existing growing medium and the new growing medium to be evaluated must be used to fill the same size containers and then planted with the same plant type, cultivar, and size into both growing media on the same day. All plants should be marked and labeled to clearly identify the plants in the flats or containers that are being monitored for an evaluation, such as untreated and treated, standard, new, etc. Once this is completed, all plants can be then moved to a dedicated evaluation grow zone within the greenhouse or nursery. The growing zone should provide uniform growing conditions for all plants and provide adequate light intensity and air movement. Plants placed in the grow zone should be placed next to each other to allow for a visual side-by-side comparison. The only difference is that each growing medium should be set up on a separate fertigation system, since each may have different water retention and dry down characteristics. Often, evaluations of new growing media and new plant cultivars fail due to over or underwatering because treated plants receive the same care as the standard product. Therefore, irrigation scheduling may be different for each growing medium and adjustments may be needed. If plants aren't constantly fed, adjust the fertilizer schedule so the plants in the new growing medium receive proper nutrition. Once pots or containers are planted and placed in the evaluation grow zone, plants should remain at that location until the conclusion of the evaluation. They shouldn't be moved to other locations in the greenhouse where the plants could be lost. Monitoring. It's important to properly monitor the progress of a plant growth evaluation over the duration of the plant growth cycle. Fast-growing crops like annuals that finish in 3 to 8 weeks require weekly monitoring compared to long-term crops like poinsettias that can be monitored every 2 weeks. Because every crop is different, determine the parameters to be measured and the monitoring intervals prior to planting any crop. It's best to prepare a schedule with the manufacturer's technical representative to determine what data will be collected, whether it's improved overall growth, better rooting, healthier plants, more prolific flowering, more cutting production, or shorter crop time. Allowing for sacrificing some of the plants at each monitoring interval for testing of plant dry weights, root ball grading, testing of growing media nutrient analysis, and plant tissue analysis. Then you can determine what parameters and different growth effects are important to measure. If large groups of plants are potted up, tag and label a minimum of 12 random plants from each group to collect data from each visit. Data can be collected with the technical representative at the predetermined dates. Determine the target planting date, harvest date, and set a schedule for weekly or bi-weekly monitoring. When monitoring and collecting data, a list of parameters should be measured, which can range from physical measurements, counts, and grading. Pictures of plants from each group are necessary each time and should be taken on a solid white background with a tape measure or yardstick in the background. Each monitoring interval should include any cultural notes such as day-night temperatures, application of any chemicals like growth regulators, pesticides, or change in fertilizer program, and any environmental changes like shade applied to a greenhouse, etc. With monitoring, it's necessary to have a devoted staff member who's responsible for plant care and oversight for all inputs and record any observations. Remember that if a technical representative is monitoring and collecting data each week or two, staff and management needs to know who it is and what they're expected to do on site. Also, keep in mind that data collection can take some time to gather plants, measure parameters, and record the results. Therefore, the data collector will often need several hours to record data. Do's and don'ts. Restrict access to your plant grow zone evaluation area. Often when new products are evaluated, plants grow better and faster than their standard counterparts, then magically disappear before the conclusion of the evaluation. Be honest in your product evaluation. If the timing isn't right, or you don't have a person to assist, better to wait for a more convenient time. Be committed to a product evaluation. Set the dates, assign the location in the greenhouse, devote a dedicated person to oversee the grow zone, and properly monitor the evaluation for the entire duration. After all, the results can benefit your business. Don't call it quits. Wait for the final report summary. Data and laboratory analyses are very helpful in determining benefits. Determining payback. At the end of any product comparative evaluation, the technical representative should provide a report of findings. The report should include all the data collected, pictures, and laboratory analysis with a summary of the results. The purpose of the report is to review all the data and determine the value of the parameters that are important to you. For example, if the crop finishes a week early, what's the value of cost savings for less time on the bench? This can be translated into cost per square feet per week applied to the crop. If the product evaluated reduced the cost of pesticide applications or crop loss is reduced and the quality of the crop is better, determine the overall cost savings and gains. If the product reduces labor and reduces crop management, determine the cost savings. These are some examples of cost savings that can be applied to determine the real value of a product. Cost savings can be used to determine the return on investment. To calculate ROI, take the net profit or total return gain minus the initial investment. In some cases, you can use the difference in the cost of the standard product you're currently using as the investment. Often a new product or technology may cost more because it provides added benefits. This is where you can plug in the dollars gained, then subtract the initial investment cost for the new product. If the value obtained is positive, then there is a return on the investment. Conclusion. Whether you evaluate a new plant variety, new chemical, fertilizer, or growing medium, it's important to prepare ahead of time, dedicate a specific grow zone area, and devote people to properly monitor and collect data. By following a set protocol, you can verify if a new product provides the desired benefit for your growing environment. Then determine if these benefits provide a return on your investment. Doing so will provide the information needed to know if switching to a new product makes sense. The end. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Audio Files from the Tech on Demand podcast, brought to you by Grower Talks. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite app so you never miss an episode.